Yo, yo, yo. What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Angry Hacks podcast. It's been a while. I feel like it's been a while, but we have a pretty special podcast tonight. We're doing a little fantasy football draft board critique of one of our friends, a couple of our friends' board. This is Nunzi, and I'm here with Michael Hall and Stan the Man. Michael, what's going on tonight?
What's up, Ryan? It's been too long, my friend.
Way too long. And also with us, Stan the Man. What's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy? It's been way too long, like Mikey said, and let's get this show on the road. This little special pod for these boys of ours.
Yeah, it's an exciting one. We prepped for this one pretty good and discussed a little bit, but let's really get into it. So this was a league that I was in for many years, and then I kind of went away from it, and kind of did my own thing with you boys. And so a buddy of ours, Matthew Maloney, had texted me the board just to show me, and he wanted the hacks to give it a critique. So here we are, and this is what we're gonna do. So let's just
be careful what you wish for, because
yeah, I know. Be careful what you wish for is right, because I know we got a lot to say. But let's get right into it. I'm just going to go down that first round really quick, and then we're gonna dive head first into this draft. So 1 through 12 goes like this, okay? The draft begins with David Johnson. Right behind him, Le'Veon Bell. I think that you can't really go wrong with either or. So if Bell went 1 and Johnson went 2, I think you can't get too mad about either one. Now, what I do want to say, boys, is just to give the viewers a little rundown on how their league works. And it's a little different than it's been. It is a 12-person league, okay? They do half-point PPR. Their quarterbacks, they score 6 points, so it's a nice, heavy quarterback league. And also, their rundown starting lineup goes as followed. They have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, and a flex, which means no kicker, no defense. What do you guys think about that? Mike, what do you think about that, bro?
I think the no defense is interesting. I've never been in a league that does that. The kickers are getting phased out, I feel like, and I think everyone can live without the fucking kicker. It's stupid. The no defense is strange. I don't know how I feel about it. But it really opens up the board for a lot more flex guys. That's for sure.
It does. And you know what the problem is, and a reason I was getting getting dry in this league and a little uninteresting was the fact that we had 14 teams last year, and we had the 2 flexes, which just didn't leave much open for free agents. So what do you think about that, Rye?
Wow. Well, the 12 teams is pretty tough with, getting guys. It makes the end of the draft super important, getting guys that might get some playing time. But 14 teams, if it was that, that's real tough. There must be nobody in the free agent, left on free agency. That might make Josh Gordon in the last round okay, even though he might be dead. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty slim pickings when it came to free agency. And that's something that I like to do and kind of work with when you're in a fantasy football league. It makes it fun, makes you feel like kind of like an owner. So, you have Johnson and Bell going 1-2. And then it was the wide receiver train. And when you're in a half PPR league, the receivers are important. Even though, again, here where the receivers are it's loaded with receivers. So we went at 3, Antonio Brown, at 4, Julio Jones, at 5, Odell Beckham Jr., at 6, Mike Evans, and at 7 was AJ Green. I don't know how you guys feel about those picks. I think they're pretty much spot on.
Yeah, I think I think they're all landing where they pretty much should.
Yeah.
I guess you could. Some people like Evans a lot this year. You could argue Evans over Beckham, but you're really flipping a coin for me at that point.
I agree. And after that, it gets a little silly and it gets a little weird. McCoy is the next pick. That's what is that 7, which is fine with me.
That's at 8. That's at 8, Nuns.
That's at 8. Okay, I'm sorry. That's at 8, and I'm fine with that because if the guy plays, not only does he hurt others in the run game, he's very good out of the backfield. You know, I don't like the guy obviously because he's an Eagle, longtime Eagle, but he is a very shifty player. Can make some big plays. But for me, that injury stuff, it just it shies me away from getting a player like that. But I'm okay with that pick. The next pick, Rye, I know that we just talked about this. John Samponia, Tom Brady in the first
touchdown, Tommy.
Holy cow.
Dog duty. Dog duty.
Rye, please tell us about that one.
What a terrible pick. Samponia must have been drunk making this pick. I don't know what he's thinking. Brady in the first round. Another quarterback, perhaps maybe the best fantasy quarterback in the game, goes in round 3. And then another one doesn't go till round 5. There's a chance that the quarterback he gets in round 13, which we'll get to later, could be like the best pick for him in his draft. But his first overall pick, taking Brady in the first round, is asinine. And as you look at his roster the rest of the way, you realize it really screwed him over.
Yeah.
Because he got no one. His first.
Now, and we'll get to more of his draft. The next one puzzled all of us too. I like the guy, but the value, he could have gotten him in the second round, was Amari Cooper. Kenny picks Amari Cooper at pick 10. And I feel like we could have went a couple of other different ways, like Jordy Nelson, Freeman, even Ajayi I might take in front of him. I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that, Mike?
Well, looking at Kenny's board, and we'll get to the rest of the picks later. I mean, if he had a strategy going in, it looks like he sure was valuing the running back more than the receiver, which is totally fine. But if you're going to do that, I think you need a bona fide wide receiver 1, and I don't think you're really getting that with Cooper, and I think you could have gotten that with wide receivers that went after him. So I don't love the pick. Ken, biggest shit talker in history. I think you screwed that one up.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I like Cooper. I have him in my other.
Yeah, I do too.
But I think you're right. There are other picks there that he could have made that would have made more sense. I think Jordy Nelson's the big one because I think he is a bona fide number 1 on an offense that's unbelievable. Not to say Oakland's offense isn't, because it is. But it's just not Green Bay's offense.
I mean, I think it's hard to sell me sell me Amari Cooper over Jordy Nelson. I don't see it, and I'm trying not to. That's not really Packer bias coming at you. You guys don't like the Pack. I just think that's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. And then we get to Kyle, who I just want to. I want to just give you his pick, guys, and then go to the last pick in the first round, and then I want to jump right into his draft and tell the viewers what the frick he was doing. But anyway, his pick was Melvin Gordon. I like Melvin Gordon. Pretty good
pick a little bit. But then Maloney at the last pick in the first round, he gets that. It's a snake draft, so he gets 2 picks in a row. Goes Jordy Nelson and Devonta Freeman, which I thought was an excellent back-to-back first and second round. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he had to be getting pretty moist sitting there waiting and seeing those 2 guys still on the board as it got to him, and he got 2 good ones there.
Yeah, very good ones there. I mean, I think Jordy. I mean, that's something that Kenny missed out on, grabbing Cooper and leaving Jordy there, and Maloney's just waiting to grab him up, and he did.
Yeah, I think Maloney was probably about halfway through the first round was thinking I'd be all right with like Amari Cooper and Jordan Howard, something like that, and he gets Nelson and Freeman. Big bonus.
Yeah. I think he struck gold. He struck gold with those 2 picks, guys. He really did. Let's all right. Let's get this out in the open. We might as well already. Freaking Kyle was an auto draft throughout the whole draft. How much does that piss you off?
Gallivanting around Europe, I gather. But Kyle, come on, buddy. I mean, you know, this isn't your first rodeo here. You know, you've been in this league a long time. Can he set up some kind of? He's got to set up some kind of ranking, some kind of pre-draft strategy that you can put on the auto pick. Am I wrong? You can do that.
Or send somebody else for you. At least someone that won't draft 3 tight ends.
I mean, guys, he's got the same amount of quarterbacks as he does tight ends as he does wide receivers. His wide receiver 2 is John Brown.
Holy cow!
Aren't they starting 3 wide receivers?
They're starting 3,
Yeah.
and his 3 is Brashard Perryman, who I would never even pick.
And to make matters worse, his last pick was Spencer Ware, which looked like a great value pick at the time. Now the guy's out for the year. Like, it gets better and better. I mean,
when it rains, it pours.
oh my God. I mean, let's just go through it here. I mean, Gordon and Ajayi, that's a pretty decent start. Okay. Right. Alshon Jeffrey as your 1. You can sell me that as long as you back it up with some depth. Then the auto pick just goes bananas on him. Jimmy Graham, Cam Newton, O.J. Howard.
Wow.
In the 6th round, guys, a rookie tight end. You guys know the best rookie season ever was Gronk, and he was like 16th in fantasy among tight ends that year. They don't do shit.
And
ever.
O.J. Howard's not even a 1 right now. Cameron Brate's still there.
Right. These rookie tight ends never get it that quickly.
Right.
And guess what? He got another one. He got the Giants rookie tight end, Evan Engram, who I really like the kid, but you're not going to see the numbers this year.
No.
In between those 2 was John Brown, Brashard Perriman. I mean, then came the Engram. Then 2 quarterbacks, Wentz and Roethlisberger. I mean, and now finally the 3rd running back was a Duke Johnson. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I don't want to hear about auto draft. You should have taken care of this, Kyle. You should have taken care of this.
You need to prep.
I'm sure this trip to Europe was planned ahead of time. I'm sure nothing popped up the last minute. You're a smart guy, but holy shit, Kyle, this is funny, man.
You're gonna fucking go to Europe? You got a fucking fantasy draft. You can't go to fucking Europe. You got a fucking fantasy draft.
I saw the Facebook pictures, Kyle. He's gallivanting around Portugal, eating snails and shit. I don't know what he's doing.
Escargot.
And he's leaving his team in the hands of the auto pick wizards, and he's left with the biggest pile of dog shit you could ever assemble.
Guys, tell me, how can you live with yourself and go throughout a season having this team? I couldn't.
How many moves does he have to make? He has to make like 7 before Sunday.
He's going to spend all his auction money in week 1, dude.
He's going to blow his load just to field a team.
I mean, I think he would take Aaron Hernandez on his team, and he's freaking dead.
Oh,
and it's not too soon, by the way, right? That's not too soon.
Yeah, he's dead. Who cares? I mean, it's Aaron. Who cares?
It's right on time.
Guys,
who else we got here? Who else we got?
Well,
Kyle's too easy. Let's move on.
That was way too easy. Guys, let's go to John Samponia because we touched on it a little bit before.
Samps.
We already said the Brady round 1 was an insane pick. We're not saying Brady's a bad fantasy guy. It was just bad value. Could have got him in the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah.
Maybe the 5th.
Probably.
He got Rivers in the 13th.
He would, he would have been the second. He would have been the second quarterback after Rodgers, but like the 4th at the earliest, maybe the end of the 3rd, but
right.
not. What is that? 9 overall.
Now,
that's silly.
Now, guys, hear me out here.
Okay.
He picks Ezekiel Elliott at 2, and everything was up in the air with his suspension. And now we just found out that that 6-game suspension is upheld. But I'm just seeing now that he's eligible to play week 1 because of the timing of it.
Okay. Yeah.
That makes it a little different, but still, the value there with him still missing 6 games is terrible.
It's risky. I mean, listen, I did a similar type thing, you guys know, in our league, and I took Elliott at the end of the 3rd in a 10-team league, and he's taking him in the top half of the 2nd, so a little earlier than I did. Listen, I kind of like the pick. I like the risk reward of this pick. As long as you have a good team behind him. I mean,
but he doesn't.
Right, but if you draft an Elliott and you say, okay, I'm not going to have him for 6 weeks, 7 weeks actually with the bye, if I can just kind of stay afloat, maybe go 500 in my league without him, and then you're adding an Ezekiel Elliott for the last half, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself. But there's a way to do it. Now, let's jump ahead with Sam's. He does the McFadden handcuff. which I think you have to consider when taking Elliott. But the 6th freaking round, Johnny.
Yeah.
So you're drafting Elliott, who have to have is a realistic opportunity that you're not going to have him for 7 weeks. You're taking him in the 2nd round, and then you're drafting a guy in the 6th round who's only going to play for those 6 weeks, and then he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, you are losing a ton of value. You are like spewing out value at the sides of your ship right now. It's just the combo of that in the spots he did it just does not work.
No, it doesn't.
So the ship, he's not spewing out value at the side of the ship. He's taking on water, and that ship is freaking sinking.
It's already at the bottom of the ocean.
It is. And guys, we discussed that his wide receiver position is freaking horrible too. He's got Terrell Pryor as his number 1, not a number 1 fantasy guy, I'm sorry, and Allen Robinson as his 2, who is god awful. And who's throwing him the ball, Michael? Who's throwing him the ball? Your favorite.
Yeah, Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Whatever his name is.
Terrible. And like you said, he's got Rex Burkhead in the 10th round. What the hell are you doing?
I mean, I've heard of Rex Burkhead, but like, come on, and he's in New England now, so you know how that goes. You never know it's too many mouths to feed, even with Edelman out, and you still have White, you still have Dion Lewis,
And where did they go in this draft? Much later than Burkhead.
Right. That's a good point. How is Rex Burkhead the first Patriot running back off the board?
I got to say quickly, Maloney getting Dion Lewis, last pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That's a pick, man.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Gillislee went first. He was the first Patriot.
Oh, Gillislee. Okay, I knew I was forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
But and there you go.
But like we said, guys, how can you trust anybody from the Patriots in the running game? You can't.
It's what
this is what Belichick does, man. He's got these 4 guys now, and who the hell knows who's going to be the top guy week 1? Who's going to be the top guy week 10? We don't know.
I mean, listen, all 4 of the guys went, okay? Gillislee, White, Lewis, and Burkhead, they all go. If you're rostering that guy, how can you in your right mind just when you're setting up your lineup going, you know what? Yeah, he's going to have a big week. How the hell do you know?
You have to dig deep, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. You have to dig deep and look at match. I don't know.
You're going to get into Belichick's head?
Wouldn't you rather have Orleans Darkwa?
You might.
It's like ridiculous. And then I look at the bottom of this list of Samponia, and it's never a good thing when you're handwriting a player's name on the draft board that they don't
Usually
make a
not.
ticket for him. So not only does his draft start with Tom Brady in the 1st round, terrible pick, it ends with Josh Gordon.
Ugh. Listen, okay. The Rivers pick in the 13th is one of the best picks of the whole draft. And it's a shame because every other pick blows. McFadden in the 6th, Blunt in the 7th, Rawls in the 8th. Rawls may not play it down this year. I mean, he's banged up. He's always hurt. I mean, Lacey's got the job for now. 8th round Rawls. I mean, Tyrell Williams in the 9th, decent.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, right. I'm okay with that. Jordan Reed in the 5th. So you're taking your tight end 1 in the 5th. Jordan Reed, I'm understanding you're getting some pretty crazy value there in the 5th because he's a freak athlete. And when he's on the field, he's as good as anybody when he's on the field. But he's usually on the sideline in street clothes.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Your take on the Rivers pick, I'm going to actually disagree in a couple of ways.
Okay.
The first way is he takes him 13, and you think that's a great value pick. But when's he playing? When's he playing for him?
Well, here's the thing. I think this is what he has to do. You're right. Because when you spend your 1st round pick on Tom Brady,
right,
he's got to make a move. He's got to see if he can trade Tom Brady.
But here's the problem, dude. And I've been in this league for many years. Nobody usually trades quarterbacks. Nobody usually trades them.
Well, then he's boned.
It doesn't happen often. He knows this too. He knows this. So that was my first thing. The value thing may have been pretty good if Tom Brady wasn't chosen. Because now Rivers plays what? His bye week. Brady's bye week. That's it.
Yeah, Rivers is not – he's not a backup. Rivers is not a backup. He's
right. But here's my other thing, because I've had Rivers before in fantasy. He's a guy that'll come out of the gate guns a-blazing. Okay.
Yeah.
He does it, and then he goes cold after a few games. It's happened many times.
Yeah.
But a big problem has been the last year, a couple of years, is his top receiver has gone out, which is Keenan Allen, who I love as a football player, but the guy's always hurt again.
Oh, last 5 years, he's had 4 season-ending injuries.
Unbelievable. The guy, if he's on the field, he's a PPR monster. Rye, you know it because you've had him a couple times.
Yeah, I've had him during 2 of those injured seasons. But yeah, I love Keenan Allen. And I think River, that's why I like the Tyrell Williams pick for Samponia, because I think that Keenan Allen's just, you never know. So that's why I like the Williams pick, and they have Rivers throwing the ball. Rivers could 45 times a game this year. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rivers, listen, right, Nuns, you're right about Rivers. I mean, the last 2 years, I think he finished as, I mean, depending on the league settings, he's finished outside of the top 12 as fantasy quarterback. So, but I think he's a top 10 guy this year. And right now he's a backup in this league, which is a shame.
Well, that's the problem. So that pick right there is kind of for naught because he's going to play Tom Brady every game he's in there.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? But
right.
Like we said, the value for Brady was terrible. There's so many other things he could have done, and it's just sad because his team sucks, guys. His team sucks.
If he could have shaped it so much differently and say still gotten Rivers in the 13th. And gotten a RB1 or a wide receiver 1 in the first, and then still got Ezekiel Elliott, it would have been looking a lot different.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So I mean, let's look at something that we just discussed together before we got on here, and that was Tim's draft, and he takes a guy in the 5th round named Amir Abdullah. And I know, Mike, you know him well, being a Packers fan, going against him 2 times a year. Tell us about that pick.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him. They don't run the ball. They've kind of – well, here's the thing. They've changed philosophies a bit. With under Jim Bob Cooter – I still can't believe that's a real name. My coach's name. They're much
from the South. Come on.
They're a much more ball control style offense now. One of the reasons I'm really down on Stafford this year, because he ended the year last year horribly, and they don't throw it all over the yard anymore. They're not going to. So maybe that makes Amir Abdullah a little more a bigger part of the offense. I just don't like the kid. Now, I like his running style. It's straight line. It's aggressive, but it's one of those styles where his body just can't hold up to it. And he's hurt a lot. He still fumbles a lot. So selling me that as a 5th round pick, that's a tough sell.
It is a tough sell, dude. And we discussed what other running backs he could have gotten instead.
Yeah, immediately after him, Marshawn Lynch, C.J. Anderson. Okay, well, I'm back on the C.J. Anderson train a little this year. And then Carlos Hyde, who I know we all don't love. I don't even love that pick in the 5th round by Dave, but it would have made more sense than Amir Abdullah. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I'm not. That's one that kind of stuck in my mind right there because it's just not a good pick. And we said that his. He like you said, he's got one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best fantasy quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. He picks the best tight end in Gronk, which here's my take on Gronk. Is he the best tight end in football? Yes. Is he the best fantasy tight end in football? Yes. But my problem is this guy just gets hurt every single year. So you're getting a guy that plays maybe what? 9 to 11 games here and there, maybe on average.
I think 12's the ceiling.
Right. And I've said a million times, I just hate tight ends in fantasy. I hate them.
Yeah.
They're just too streaky. It's like the Lucas Duda of fantasy football, because Lucas Duda is like one of the biggest, streakiest hitters.
And I agree with you with that, but to be fair, Rob Gronkowski is as consistent as they come. But again, he's going to miss time.
What's that, Rye?
If he's healthy. If that could make or break Tim's fantasy season.
It's almost like, when does Gronk get hurt? You want him to get hurt weeks, 2 through 5, 2 through 6, instead of weeks 12 through 14 and screw him and for the playoffs.
And that's the risk he ran with getting him in the second round. I mean, you run a risk, but you know what? It could be a reward if the guy plays every game.
Right.
And looking at Timmy's team, I mean, the one thing, Abdullah in the 5th round kind of sucks. But like you said, best quarterback, best tight end, and potentially the best wide receiver in round 1, 2, and 3. So he might possibly have the top wide receiver, the top tight ends, and the top quarterback. And then he gets Mixon, Willie Snead, Tevin Coleman I like, maybe a little too early. But his team looks okay. Maybe he can hit with one of these guys late in the draft, but his team is okay.
Yeah.
Good, not great.
You could see Timmy was definitely going with the 0 running back kind of philosophy. So when you do that, you got to hit on like 2 or 3 of these middle running backs. I would have liked him draft 5 if that was his strategy. He only drafted 4, so that kind of limits his ceiling. But Mixon, I love. Nunzi, I know you love him too as a football player.
Yep.
I think it's just a matter of time before he takes that job in Cincinnati, and
yep.
he's already, I think, one of the most talented running backs in the league. Period. Stop. Yep. Abdullah, we talked about. Coleman, I love. I have him on one of my teams. 7th round is about right for me in a 12-team league, especially when you go in 0 RB, you have to reach a little in the middles. And Coleman, I think, is a hit. And then Doug Martin in the 10th. Okay, I would have loved one more. It looks like he could have gotten Latavius Murray, maybe Jaquiz Rogers, who's going to play the first few weeks with Martin out. Doug Martin suspended. Isn't he suspended the first couple of games?
I think it's 2 games he's suspended.
So that would have been a decent handcuff if he takes Jaquiz Rogers late instead of I don't know, Ertz. You really don't need a backup tight end with Gronk. I guess no. I'm wrong. You do, because Gronk's gonna get hurt. But the Galladay pick, I know a lot of people like him. Josh Doxson in the last round, another running back, I think would have made me feel better about that situation. But overall, a pretty good team.
Well, this is a typical Tim draft too. He usually goes high on wide receivers and leaves a lot to be desired in the running back.
Okay.
So it's nothing out of the ordinary.
If Joe Mixon can take that job early and run with it, he's going to be okay.
Yes, because especially in a PPR league, this guy, I've seen enough of Joe Mixon to know what he can do when he gets the ball. So if he's catching something out of the backfield, he's going to make a lot of people miss.
Yep.
So I mean, like you said, it's a good but not great draft. I'm with you there. Give me another guy. Like let's target another guy's draft here.
Well, I'm looking at Mars, which I think is Marzano, right?
It's Marzano, yes.
Well, looking at the team, I don't know how I feel about the team, but he definitely has the best wide receiving core in the league. Because he goes 1, 2, and 3 in Brown, Cooks, and Keenan Allen.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then he still gets Brandon Marshall, Pierre Garçon, and Jordan Matthews. That is a solid 6 wide receiving team.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, if you're going to go top 3 wide receivers, you should end up with one of the best crews. What I like about Marzano's draft is if everything breaks right with Ty Montgomery hanging on to that job, and Danny Woodhead being the PPR darling he always is, with decent depth, Sproles is going to get some PPR looks. If Joe Williams, his last pick, he may take the job in 49ers in San Francisco. He may take it away from Carlos Hyde. If things break right with that wide receiver core, he could win this league. Actually, I mean, Breeze at quarterback, the tight ends. Doyle, he's obviously punting on tight end and going to play matchups, but those wide receivers are outstanding. Pierre Garçon is your 5, is pretty good.
Well, now and with a league that goes 3 receivers and a flex, he's probably going to play 4 receivers.
4. And he's going to have a big advantage every week.
Right. Very, very true. My problem with when you're doing the running backs, it's not that big of a deal when I'm looking at his running backs, because all you have to really start is 2 running backs.
Right.
And he's definitely going to start Ty Montgomery, like you said, if he holds on to that job. And then he can punt that second RB each week based on matchups like you talked about. Woodhead for me is great if he's on the field. Another guy that's always hurt.
Yeah.
But if he's hurt, who's playing behind him?
I was just going to say, Terrence West is there.
And he handcuffed himself there, Marzano. That's a good
He
pick.
did a very good job there. He did a very good job there. And like you said, Mike, he's loaded at wide receiver. He's got plenty of room there to play 4 wide receivers each and every week. Yeah. So he had a great draft. I love Breeze in round 5, by the way, too.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna, you know what he does every year. He throws. The guy throws.
It's the perfect time to get him. The more I look at it, I don't want to fluff this guy up too much, but it's a very good draft.
Very good draft. Another guy who had a really good draft that we kind of pinpointed was Rich, one of our buddies in our other league. I think his draft went really well.
Yeah.
He didn't go anything other than a running back or a wide receiver until round 8, where he grabbed Jameis Winston, which, Rye, I know you're very high on Jameis Winston this year, right?
I'm very high on him. I think he's going to be great. However, just found out that he might not be playing week 1, and Rich did not draft a backup quarterback. And the reason why is because they might not play at all because of the hurricane.
Yeah, the weather. I don't know what.
Well, they're trying to move it up to Friday, I heard.
Really?
Yeah, I heard they were trying to move it up to Friday, possibly.
I hope they do something. But other than that, I mean, I love his first 4 picks, to be honest.
Yeah. Maybe even 5.
Yeah.
You guys like Gurley there?
I think it's I know people scared of Todd Gurley, and he had a horrible year. But a couple things. I don't think he can get any worse than last year. I mean, Gurley, he rushed for like 800 yards. You guys knew what happened. The offense was horrible. Gurley even said it himself. It was like a junior high offense. Felt like he was running.
Mm-hmm.
But boring old Jeff Fisher's out. They got some new blood in there. You may see a little more creativity with that offense, different ways to get Gurley the ball, and it cannot be worse than it was last year. And he got him at the bottom half of the second round. I think it's the right spot.
I think it's the right spot. The crazy thing to me is if it was reversed and he took McCaffrey in the second round and Gurley in the third, I think we'd look at it and be like, that's perfect.
Well, yeah.
So he got Gurley in the second round and was still able to get McCaffrey in the third. So I think it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if he takes McCaffrey first, Gurley gets snatched before it comes back around. Maybe
that's what I was going to say.
Maybe Tommy Freddie snatches Gurley instead of Fournette. You never know. But yeah, Rich cracks me up. He always makes the correct pick. You know what I mean? If you
he usually takes 3 hours making his pick, but he does it.
Hey, well, whatever it takes. I mean, call it chalk, call it whatever you want. They all like fit to me. Like they all have the right amount of value. He's got the right amount of like rookies. I mean, he's got Jamal Williams. We talked about Montgomery. Jamal Williams is the only threat for him to take that Green Bay running job. Took that in the 9th round. Alvin Kamara, the rookie New Orleans, in the 11th. Chris Carson, I hate to admit, I have no idea who the hell that is. But I'm assuming he's a young guy because I don't know.
He's a running back out of Seattle. Rich was telling me.
So I'm sure Rich likes him. Cooper Kupp, I'm hearing great. He's going to be the best wide receiver on that team.
Middle name is Solo, by the way.
Cooper Solo Kupp. I think you're right, actually. And then, like you said, no quarterback until 8, no tight end until 14.
Yeah.
Cameron Brate, who, so he did it the right way. When there's no defense and there's no kicker, you load up on RB, you load up on wide receiver, and that was like his whole team.
Yeah, very true.
That's another one that sucks for Rich, though. I love the pick of Brayton 14. I like the Winston pick.
Same team.
But if they don't play week 1, that's 2 guys that he needs to pick up for. Yeah, and that sucks.
Well, I looking at it, you can drop Marvin Jones and not break a sweat. You got to pick someone up.
True.
And I guess it's Chris Carson guy. And then if he wants to get those guys back, he probably could.
That's true. And one more thing about Gurley and Rich. Are you sure he hasn't converted to like a Rams fan since he's a Jet fan, and that's maybe why he went so high on Gurley?
Yeah, it could be a little West Coast bias. You never know.
I mean, he might have season tickets. I don't know.
Maybe he's here getting the inside scoop on Todd Gurley. Who knows?
He might be getting
the
inside scoop. It's a good pick. It's a good pick, and Rich is always infamous for punting his tight ends because he usually picks up like 5 to 6 a year.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine way to do it, and you can tell that was his strategy, and it worked.
Yeah, and that's something that I like too. You've already heard me say I hate tight ends in football and in fantasy football, but So I like that. I like him waiting all the way there.
Yeah.
I definitely like him waiting. I know, Rye, didn't you like Tom's draft too? You like Ferretti's draft?
I think it's very solid. It's just a solid draft. I mean, I think he gets the best player in fantasy football. You can argue with Le'Veon Bell, but David Johnson, I think, is the best fantasy football player if he stays healthy. And then, I mean, he has a good running back too in Fournette. What else is Jacksonville going to do? They are going to give this guy the ball a lot. So he's got two running backs that might get the ball more than anybody else in the league, except for maybe Bell. But those two guys are going to get the ball a lot. I like Travis Kelce a lot. I don't know if I like him in the 4th round, but you know what? He might put up the numbers to be warranted to be there. So it's okay, I think. And then I like Hilton. I like Larry Fitz. He's always solid. And then maybe the receivers take a dip. But I said earlier that when you write a player's name in on the draft board, that's never good. But I actually like his Robbie Anderson pick for the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like it too. I think the top 2 wide receivers are very solid. You have a solid 1 in Hilton. You have a above average 2 in Larry Fitz. The depth, leaves a little to be desired. Sammy, who knows? Deshaun Jackson, who knows? Mike Wallace, who knows? I mean, these are 3 veterans who are good wide receivers. So I think it'll be okay. And then you throw in Robbie Anderson and Tyler Lockett at the end to really round out the depth. I think he'll find a 3rd guy every week pretty easily.
Yeah, hold on, Ryan. And that pick of Tyler Lockett, that last pick in the draft, I really like that pick. And the reason being is the guy came out as a rookie and was very dynamic, and not even in the passing game, in the return game as well. And then something happened last year. I think he got hurt.
Yeah, bad injury.
The team itself, the offense, Russell Wilson had a down year. So this guy can really bounce back and be dynamic again. That's going to be a steal at 14. No?
Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
Big steal.
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
No, big steal. That in 13 or 14, getting Anderson to Lockett. I mean, Anderson is the Jets' number 1.
Yeah.
It's a number 1 receiver in the 13th round of a 12-man league, and then a 12-team league, and then you get Lockett in 14. Just very good end of the draft for Tom Ferretti.
I mean, saying you're the number 1 receiver on the Jets is like saying you're the best smelling dog turd in the horse stable or in the doghouse or whatever. But
True.
You're right. He is a 1 if he's going to get the targets. So maybe even just the volume of targets leads him to at least low end wide receiver 2 numbers, and to get that in the 13th round is pretty damn good.
Yeah. I'm not big on the Robbie Anderson pick, but I guess that's just let's give it a flyer. I mean, I really don't know if there is a number 1 there.
The Lockett pick I like.
Yeah, the Lockett pick's very good.
I expected to bounce back from him, and I hadn't seen him go in many drafts, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
And here you go. This last pick of this draft, Tyler Lockett.
One thing that just struck me, guys, I'm looking at this board, and I'm looking at the Trey man over here, infamous for drafting guys like Kenny Irons. But yeah, I think he was on the IR when he drafted him too. But anyway, so he drafts Andrew Luck in the 6th round. The guy may not be right like ever again. Yeah. I mean, he is really hurt, guys. And I don't know if you knew this, but they showed him on the sidelines of their practices, and he's not even like throwing. He's not even in like a throwing motion. He's just like taking a couple steps. He looks very lethargic out there, very just lackadaisical. I mean, you would think he would be in the playbook doing this, doing that. I don't know. What if the guy just doesn't play at all this season? Well, even if he misses like 6 games. Yeah. I guess he's got Stafford down in 13, but I don't like him as a 1.
Yeah, Stafford's not a 1 this year. I mean, I guess it's somewhat of an insurance policy. The problem with the Luck pick, like you said, being in the 6th round, and taking a quick look at Johnny's team, he has Le'Veon Bell, and then after that, the worst running backs, like Paul Perkins, 5th round.
Yeah, that's a little early.
You guys know about the Giants running game.
Yep.
And I like Paul Perkins. I like him as a football player. I think he's great for the Giants offense. Fantasy wise, you want to talk about Abdullah going before Marshawn Lynch and C.J. Anderson and Carlos Hyde. Paul Perkins went before all those guys at the beginning of the 5th. I don't like that pick at all. And then after the luck, he takes Lacey and C.J. Procise, a Seattle handcuff, Paul Perkins, and that's all you have to back up Le'Veon Bell.
Agreed. And you know what I'm looking at too right here? He could have probably grabbed Breeze at that spot and then probably would be able to get Perkins possibly coming back around. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I heard this thing about Andrew Luck. I heard that the Colts, they called over to the New York Mets and asked Ray Ramirez to take a look at his arm. So we know he's done forever now.
That's it, folks.
That's
Rest
it, boys.
in peace, Andrew Luck.
That's it, boys. I'm with you on the running back depth though. It's non-existent. And what if and Mike, what if Bell goes down with an injury like he's prone to? He's fucked then.
And Johnny Trahan's going to have historically one of the worst fantasy running back years of all time.
Unless he picks up some. I mean, I don't know.
Unless he starts wheeling and dealing.
Wheeling and dealing, yeah. But
yeah, you're right. We could have taken Breeze there right in the 5th.
Yeah.
I think he panicked and because he went Baldwin. So he goes Bell, then second round Baldwin. Okay, good. Demarius, fine. Golden Tate, fine. Golden Tate is your wide receiver 3. Is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I think he panicked and said, I need another running back. And I don't know what he was, and that's fine. But running back, fine. But Paul Perkins, I can think of 10 guys off the top of my head.
Why is he taking Andre Ellington, by the way, even in the last round? Is he even going to play?
What is? I didn't even notice that. What the hell?
Well, did you see what he's listed as now?
Yeah, well, look, he's got a wide receiver. He's yellow. Wide receiver, yellow.
And I think he's a free agent. No, I don't know.
I think he's in the CFL. No, I don't know. Arena. Lingerie League. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a weird pick right there. That's a really weird pick.
Yeah. So Johnny, I like the receivers. Behind those 3 I mentioned, J.J. Nelson, Kenny Stills, Mike Williams, and I guess Andre Ellington. We'll leave him out. So Nelson, Stills, Williams, pretty good.
You know what I'm looking at too? Rob. I'm looking at Rob. He went 3 receivers in the beginning, and he loaded up. Evans, Des Bryant, and Devontae Adams. That's freaking sick. And Randall Cobb's your 4th.
You can argue. We talked about Marzano having the best wide receiver core. Rob, that's close.
And here's what I'm talking about too. He doesn't grab a running back until until round 5, but he ends up getting Lynch, Powell, and Riddick, who's a PPR monster. That's not bad.
For using the 0 running back strategy, he nailed that.
Nailed it.
100.
Nailed it. Hate the Prescott pick.
Yeah, well, Dak's going to regress. And the 7th is probably a little early.
That's very early.
Well, I think there was 4 quarterbacks taken in the round after him that I think are better. And Wilson, Mariota.
Oh, absolutely.
And Carr.
Guys, how about this? He took Dak Prescott over Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's
Matt
I
Ryan
didn't
went
see
later
him
in
there.
the round. That is insanity. Ryan, Wilson, Mariota, Winston, Cousins. All better picks than Prescott.
Rivers too, Mike. Your boy Rivers.
Rivers went, inexplicably in the 13th round.
I'm looking at it. That might be one of the worst value picks in the draft. Prescott. I'm sorry.
Dak in the 7th. Yeah, it's up there with Perkins in the 5th. I'm kind of scanning around. It's not. Yeah, I like Rob's draft a lot. I don't like the Dak pick at all.
I think he fell in love with the quarterback wide receiver combo. He got Dez in round 2.
Right.
He was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not. Do I go Winston? Do I go Prescott? I can't go Aaron Rodgers with Devontae. So I'm going to go Prescott.
Yeah.
Dumb move, Rob.
Hey, he takes Witten too. Is this kid a Cowboys fan?
No, he's a Packer fan, Mike, actually.
Is he really? He should be ashamed.
The Packers.
Yes, I see. Yeah. Okay.
And you know what? Guys? He actually, he grabbed Riddick as his 3rd. And Riddick goes after Abdullah. Riddick's going to have a better fantasy season than Abdullah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think in PPR,
I keep saying I'm sorry, but I'm actually not sorry.
How many times we said I'm sorry, and if he stays healthy, it's been.
But that's our thing. That's our thing here.
But it's true. But Riddick in a PPR is 10 times more valuable than Amir Abdullah.
Right. Not much of a runner, but PPR, holy cow.
He had games where he had 9, 10 catches. So you're talking double-digit targets for like 4 or 5 games last year. He's listed as a running back, which is silly, but it's almost like stealing another receiver.
Yep.
Good analysis there. Very good analysis. And the other running backs he grabbed is Forte and Lat Murray. Not bad with those late picks, no?
Forte, yeah. I mean, Lat Murray is your RB5.
And Forte's your handcuff for Powell.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's solid.
He did the running backs really, really well for punting on them early.
I think Rob had a good draft.
Yes, he did. Save the Prescott pick.
I think the Jermaine Kearse pick is stupid. He could have just grabbed another something like a diamond in the rough there, but I think that's a throwaway.
Yeah, well, Kearse is now on
the Jets.
The Jets.
Is he really?
The Jets traded Sheldon Richardson to Seattle.
Oh, that's right. That was the other day, right?
Yes, it was. And Jermaine Kearse, I believe, came back.
Well, maybe that pick makes it a little bit better, even though no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Because who's throwing to him?
Yeah, it shouldn't help.
McClown.
Absolutely. Absolutely McClown. Actually, you know what? I lied, guys. Rob is not a Packer fan. That's RJ.
Oh, you lied.
I'm a lie. They have our names. Come on, give me a break.
Come on, you fucking liar.
Well, yeah, do me a favor and just stop lying for the rest of the...
I'm going to try to stop lying, but I'm still going to say those two phrases.
Well, if they stay healthy.
And I'm sorry.
Who else? If they stay healthy? Let's see. Who's a good pick if they stay healthy?
That's a lot of guys.
Eric Decker, man.
Eric Decker. RJ in the 10th. He should get plenty of red zone targets. And if he stays healthy, Eric Decker should flirt with the 10 touchdown total. I think that's a reasonable expectation.
But Mike, if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. If he stays healthy.
All right. Guess what?
Okay.
If Josh Gordon stays healthy, Samponia, he's still not going to help you.
If Rex Burkhead stays healthy, Samps will be all right.
Oh, God. I mean, I think we bashed Samps enough, did we not?
Yeah. Sorry, Johnny. Sorry.
All right. So, guys, let's break this down a little bit. All right. Let's give our best team and worst team in terms of their draft. So, Rye, I'm going to let you go first. Who had the best draft overall?
Oh man, so I have a tough time with this one. I honestly don't know. I go through a few different ways. I go Ferretti, Marzano, Maloney.
Top three.
I don't know which way. I like the three of those drafts.
All right. Now, who had the worst draft?
I mean, can we consider Kyle? I mean,
let's throw him out of there because he was the auto draft.
Is he still in Europe?
I don't know.
Kyle, are you out there?
Kyle Vetter, are you out there?
Kyle, are you
I hope he started making some moves. That's what I'm wondering. But I mean, if I had to go with another loser, I mean, we ripped Samponia enough. But honestly, right after, I mean, I would say Samponia, but Kenny, give Samponia a little run for his money.
Yeah.
Cameron Meredith in the 6th, boys.
Even if he was healthy, that's a terrible pick.
That's a terrible, terrible pick, even healthy. So many guys are better than him after that.
Yeah. Kenny.
He took George Washington later. I mean, come on.
Well, he takes him before guys like Willie Snead and Parker and even our boy Brandon Marshall. I just think that's dumb.
He took him for Emmanuel Sanders, too.
I didn't even see him in there. Manny Sanders.
Yeah.
Cameron Meredith. And now he's paying the price because he's out for the season.
Yeah. I guess you want to say Hogan's value gets a tick. I
like the Hogan pick because of that. Yeah.
And I like the Zay Jones pick. I took Zay Jones in both my leagues, the rookie at Buffalo. I expect a big rookie year from him. But, yeah, Kenny's team overall. We talked about the Cooper pick. And then a lot of unproven entities at running back. I mean, Jordan Howard, he had a good year. He looks good, and he's probably an RB1, but are we really sure? And then 2 rookies, albeit, 2 of the better ones, but 2 rookies. 3 rookies. Marlon Mack in Indianapolis.
And that Cohen guy down there, I don't even know who he is.
Rookie. DeAndre Washington, second or third year guy who's Marshawn Lynch's backup. So I guess if, he's a Lynch injury away from having Oakland starter, but a lot of unproven shit going on there. Hooper's his only tight end. He's not a 1 yet to me.
Hooper sucks.
The kid might be all right, but
Hooper sucks.
He's here. Hooper
from
the line. So, I like his quarterback situation. I like Matt Ryan, Tyrod Taylor to back him up. But Kenny, sorry, dude, I don't like this.
All right, Mike. Who won the draft?
I agree with Stanley with Marzano, Matty Moe. Let's finish off a quick little rundown of Maloney. I mean, he gets Eifert, which he has to be careful about. It's his only tight end. We want to talk about a guy if he stays healthy. Literally never on the field, but when he is, he could be better than Gronk. He's that good. Adrian Peterson's a wild card there. After Freeman and Miller, his 2 top running backs, he's got Peterson, Rob Kelly, Jeremy Hill, Dion Lewis. We like the Lewis pick. The 3 guys in between, we'll have to wait and see. Derek Carr is his only quarterback. I like Carr. I don't love him. I think he's upper echelon of the QB2s, if you ask me. So we'll have to monitor that closely. He doesn't have a backup. But the top half of his draft and the last few picks, Beasley, Lee, and Lewis, I really like. So Maloney, I'll throw in there. Marzano, I mentioned. And I like Rob. We talked about Rob. Nailed the 0 RB. Absolutely nailed it. Got Olsen as his tight end. We don't like Prescott, and he has Eli backing him up. So I guess he could play matchups if he wants, but he's going to be at a disadvantage at QB most weeks with those 2. But he's going to be looking pretty good elsewhere. I like Rob's team a lot.
All right. Who do you hate?
Who do we hate? Well, Sam's, Kenny, and Kyle we mentioned. Let me see if I can find a team that, you know what? Trahan.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Trey. I mean, you have Le'Veon Bell, and if you could ride him as far as Le'Veon Bell takes you, God bless you. And again, the starting wide receivers are above average. Okay? Baldwin is a solid one. I know he's not the sexiest guy, but he gives you wide receiver 1 numbers. Thomas has a 2, Tate has a 3. But those running backs after Bell are dog shit. I mean, Perkins, Lacey, and Procise, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. And Luck, you mentioned, may not be able to throw.
That's the one that kills me, man.
I don't think he can throw a dart right now.
Yeah, that's the one that kills me.
And then he's starting Stafford. I talked about Stafford before. Stafford finishes outside the top 15, maybe even 20 this year. I see a big regression from him. And, so Kyle Rudolph is his tight end. I like Kyle Rudolph a little bit. But it's Bell and then not much else.
That's it. That's a good one, man. For me, first of all, I actually do think Derek Carr is a QB1. That's just me. I think he is. He put QB1 numbers up last year before he got hurt. I think he continues with that offense. I think that's a very good offense. I think they grabbed a very good running back who had a year's rest. But that's besides the point. My team, guys, I'm going back with you with Marzano. I think the 3 of us really like him. So if 3 of us are putting him in there, I think he's got the best team. I do like Rich's team. Really weird with the running backs after Gurley and McCaffrey. I don't like grabbing any New England running backs. It's just too unpredictable for me, and I hate playing that type of game because I'll start a guy and he'll give me like 2 points, and then next week he'll go off and as I'm benching him. That just pisses me off. So I'm going to go Marzano. I do like Rich's and definitely Maloney's too. Maloney's is a really good draft. But I'm with you. Trahan, terrible. Just terrible. Number 1 worst is just Samponia. Sucks. There's no 2 ways about it. It actually might be worse than Kyle's. You know what? It makes it worse than Kyle's because at least Samponia was actually there. Kyle wasn't there. It just auto-drafted him.
And Kyle's auto pretty much hit him for the first 3. Gordon, Ajayi, Jeffrey is okay.
It didn't. And Samps' live did not hit him.
No.
So, John Samponia, if you're listening, you're probably not. I hope you do. Terrible draft. Terrible draft. And I can't wait to see the updates during the season. I really can't. Guys, any last words about this draft of our friends that we kind of ripped?
How about real quick, a good value pick you guys like? Best value pick. Well, we talked about Rivers, so we'll throw him out. I think that's a consensus number one. Give me another value pick you like.
PPR monster. Last round, Dion Lewis.
Yes, okay. I like it.
I don't like it, but that's okay. I'm not going to fight you on that. I just like I said, there's just too many guys there.
Too many guys there.
It could be good value if he plays a lot, but I don't know.
Right.
It's a last rounder, so maybe that is good value, right?
Nuns, what about you? You got another one? Scanning the board here.
Okay, it may be silly because I'd have to sit here for a little while and actually look at this.
Yeah,
but I'm really high on this guy. I got him in both my teams in the 9th round. Corey Coleman. I know he's on the Browns. I know. But isn't Deshaun Kaiser starting? I actually like this. I like Kaiser. I like him a lot. And I think they went with the right move in starting him. And I like this guy Coleman. I watched a couple of his preseason games. He's a stud. He's a friggin' stud. So if he can turn out the way I think he's going to turn out, I think that's a steal at 9.
All right. I got one for you. Nuns, you know this guy pretty well. If you know Joe Mixon, another Oklahoma running back, Samaje Perine.
I do know him.
13th round, Dave took him. He's the backup, Rob Kelly in Washington, and I think it's another one of those cases where it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time before he has that job. And once he has it, I mean, this kid is big-time talent. And 13th round pick, I think you may have a starting running back.
I like that pick. Of course, I'm going to like it because he's a Sooner. I'm not as high on Perine this year, possibly next year.
Okay.
I think he just needs a little bit more seasoning in the NFL game.
A little salt and pepper.
Right. Whereas Mixon does not need seasoning. I think he's going to come right out of the gate and be a freaking force, you know?
Yeah.
But in the long term, I'm with you with Perine. I really am. I like him. I like him a lot, and I think he will take that job eventually. I like that, guys. Ryan, any last words until we say goodbye to these folks?
Not really. Just happy to be back on the pod and hoping that we get one again soon this week. We'll hopefully come back at you guys with another one.
Yeah. It was a good discussion, boys. I hope our guys in this draft listened or are gonna listen. Everybody else, make sure you check our channel out on YouTube, Angry Hacks. Please give us a view. Watch our videos. They're also on SoundCloud and iTunes. Give us a review. Give us a subscription. Subscribe to us. Just listen to us. We're just a couple of schlubs talking sports, talking smack, and talking a lot of fun. You know, we have some fun out here. I hope you guys listen. We'll be back very soon, probably within a day or two, with some more podcasts. So signing off. See you guys later.
Later, boys.